Jonah Hex is 81 minutes. Okay? A summer blockbuster should not be 81 minutes. And the reason why it's 81 minutes...
That's shorter than The Lion King. That's shorter than a Woody Allen film.
It's basically the world's longest short film, is what it is.
Wow.
And the thing is that the reason why it's 81 minutes is because the film had undergone this really... It was reconceptualized, rewritten, recut. They had reshot. They did a lot of stuff to this film to try to get this thing into a releasable shape. And quite frankly, at 81 minutes, even that, it doesn't really make it. And we have a clip, and it'll give you a sense of why this movie is what it is. Let's take a look.
Jonah Hex.
He's the voice you wanted.
You surely have done us quite a favor.
Transaction's all it was. I'll collect my $100 bounty on him and be on my way.
That there, Mr. Hex, was more of a limited time offer.
But you'll pay it all the same.
Oh, hell, Mr. Hex. There's an unscrupulous man or two paid double that for your stinking hide.
I have coffins. Sure you don't need 8?
Cut him down!
So the movie's based on a DC comic book, and you know it was one of DC's B players, and I think that's okay because you know Iron Man was a B player too. Ghost Rider's getting a sequel, so it's okay if a B player is turned into a comic book B player is turned into a major film because again, if you treat the character right, it's fine. The problem is that this movie was cut down so much that there are just so many holes in it, and what's left is this movie that just goes at a breakneck pace and makes very little sense. And doesn't really care. It's a film that basically acts like it has to go pee. It just wants to just get it over with. That's the problem with the movie, right? So Josh Brolin is really the only reason to watch the movie. He's terrific. I think Josh Brolin, it fits in there with the Robert Mitchums, with the Lee Marvins. I think that John Ford would have loved him. You know, I think he's just a terrific presence. But
you realize you just said Jonah Hex in the same breath as John Ford.
No, I said James Brolin in the same, and that's okay. The thing is that in the movie, Jonah Hex plays this guy who was a Confederate soldier, and he winds up running afoul of a Confederate general played by John Malkovich. John Malkovich gets revenge by murdering Jonah Hex's wife and child and permanently disfiguring Jonah. So Jonah's life wound up being saved by these Native American Indians, and in the process of saving him, the Indians gave him the power to talk to dead people. So when the John Malkovich character comes back to destroy America, because again, he's from the South and he still believes in the Confederate cause and he wants to destroy America, they called Jonah Hex in to try to save the world. And of course, at the same time, Jonah Hex gets revenge on the man who killed his wife and child. That's what it's about. The problem is that there's so many holes in this film. Here's the thing.
Hold on.
Yes.
I was with you on the Confederate soldier thing, and the
I
guy
said it
killed
right.
his wife.
I had a good Megan Fox joke
But
with
then,
the hole, but I'm going to let it go.
But then something about talking to dead people and saving
Yes.
the world, and you lost me in there. I missed something.
But the strange part is that I guess in the entire world, Jonah Hex is the only person who can do what he does. I guess Native Americans just like him. Although halfway in the movie, there's like this. They have this big wrestling match in a ring, and there's this like kind of this feral snake man creature. And you're like, somehow, in the Wild West, there's a feral snake man creature. Well, where did he come from? Why is there a snake man creature in the movie? And then the snake man creature goes away, and then it's a Western again. And you're like, well, that was probably cut out, right? Along with everything else that was cut out in the film that makes it make very little sense. And so essentially just 81 minutes of just nothing.
But wait, he talks to dead people.
Yes. He talks, no, what he does, he grabs there's a person who's dead, and he grabs their arm, and when he grabs their arm,
Let go of my arm, please.
come. I thought you were dead.
No, that's okay.
He grabs their arm and puts his hand gently on his thigh, and then what happens? When he touches them, they come back alive, and of course Jonah then gets the information he needs from them, and then lets go of them, and then of course they die again. So he needs these dead people to tell him what John Malkovich's enormous plan is. Malkovich's enormous plan is this wild, wild west contraption that involves, now, stay with me. This is the contraption that's going to destroy America on the centennial anniversary. It involves shooting a large cannonball into the ground and then taking a smaller cannonball and shooting it into the so it strikes the larger cannonball, at which point the larger cannonball explodes. Now it could be that striking the larger cannonball makes the smaller cannonball explode. It might also make both cannonballs explode. I'm not sure, because the movie doesn't make that clear. The movie doesn't make much clear, because it's 81 minutes.
So all of this packed into 81 minutes.
Yes.
And Warner Brothers didn't want to let people see this movie.
I know.
Go figure.
No. Right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 4%. It has a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was 0 this morning.
You know what? It was 0 this morning.
So by August, it could be...
Wait a minute, so this is... Wait, which was the... what's our lowest rated one now? It wasn't Furry Vengeance? Was that the one we hated
Furry
the most?
Furry Vengeance wound up getting like a 1% or 2% or something.
I think Furry Vengeance might be lower than Jonah Hex.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
You know, but here's the thing with Jonah Hex is that it's very loud, it's poorly paced. The score is by some heavy metal band called Mastodon, which might be a heavy metal band, but it's so obnoxious it may actually be a Mastodon. I don't know. Mastodon himself may have actually scored the movie. So it's loud and it's obnoxious and it's poorly paced and poorly shot. It's dark and it's muddy and the frame is always too busy. There's just really nothing good about the film. It's just a dreadful film.
But it seems like this is an 81-minute review of the 81-minute movie.
I got an hour to kill here, folks. Here's what happens. We talk about the film until Mike does this. Now, you don't see this part until Mike does this. That says, move it the hell along. I'm revamping until Mike does this.
Oh, no, I only do that if you run over. I mean, I figured you could pace yourself by this point, 21 episodes in, but I guess not. Okay, I'll take charge again.
You're the producer. You know, the guy who produced The Tonight Show for 30 years, he did the same thing. For 30 years, he always was the producer.
And he also did this, though, in a really bad moment of Johnny Carson's life. That was... You know, that's a very famous thing that he did.
Oh, too soon?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so Jonah Hex, not good. You missed nothing. And by the way, Warner Brothers, you feel so bad because Warner Brothers, all their fears are completely founded.
And they know that.
And they know that.
And we knew that the second that they started giving you the CIA clearance treatment.
You know, the thing is that the movie was supposed to be written and directed by the guy who did Crank. And then the guy who did Crank eventually jumped off, and it was directed by the guy who did Horton Hears a Who. So the guy who does Horton Hears a Who jumps off to do this sci-fi, obnoxiously loud, you know, otherworldly, supernatural Western that makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense. Okay, I'm done talking about Jonah Hex. The movie's not good. I'm getting angry.